In a workshop, a worker measures the length of a steel plate with a vernier calipers having least count 0.01 centimeter. Four such measurements of the length yielded the following values: 3.11 centimeter, 3.13 centimeter, 3.14 centimeter, and 3.14 centimeter. Find the mean length, the mean absolute error, and the percentage error in the measured value of the length. Let us first write down the data given. L1 equal to 3.11 centimeter, L2 is equal to 3.13 centimeter, L3 equal to 3.14 centimeter, and L4 is equal to 3.14 centimeter. Let us now find out the mean value of the length. Now L mean, the mean value of the length is equal to sum of individual values, all readings, L1 plus L2 plus L3 plus L4 divided by total number, that is equal to 4. So that is equal to 3.11 plus 3.13 plus 3.14 plus 3.14 divided by 4. Now the sum of all four readings is equal to 12.52 divided by 4, that is equal to 4 3s are 12, 3.4 1s are 4, 5 minus 4 1, and 4 3s are 12. So the mean value of length is 3.13 centimeter. So L mean is equal to 3.13 centimeter. So this is most expected value or most correct value of the measured length. Now next we need to find mean absolute error and percentage error. Now let us find out individual absolute errors first. So number 2, let us try to find out individual absolute errors. So absolute errors are, first is delta L1, that is equal to mod of L mean minus L1, that is equal to 3.13 minus L1. L1 is 3.11, that is equal to 0.02 centimeter. Delta L2 equal to L mean minus L2, that is equal to 3.13 minus L2. L2 is 3.13. So there is zero error in the second reading. Now delta L3 is equal to mod of L mean minus L3. These two vertical lines stands for modulus. That means whatever is the answer, positive or negative, you have to consider only a positive value out of it. So see over here, 3.13 minus 3.14 is minus 0.01. But finally we are going to write 0.01 only. Consider only positive value. Now delta L4, absolute error, individual absolute error in the measurement of fourth reading is L mean minus L4, that is equal to 0.01 centimeter. Now let us find out the mean absolute error. Therefore, delta L mean is equal to delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3 plus delta L4 total divided by 4. Therefore, 0.04 divided by 4, that is equal to 0.01 centimeter, and so we got this delta L mean, that is mean absolute error, is equal to 0.01 centimeter. So this is the second answer that we got. Now next we need to find is percentage error in the measurement of length. Percentage error is equal to mean absolute error divided by mean value multiplied by 100, that is equal to 0.01 divided by the mean value Mean value is 3.13 centimeter divided by 3.13 multiplied by 100. That is equal to 0.003195 multiplied by 100. That is equal to, let us round it off as 0.0032. The number next to 1 is 9. So we have to round off 1 to 2 multiplied by 100. That is equal to 0.32%. So this is the percentage error in the measurement of length. So percentage error in measurement of L. Final answer. Example number 7. Find percentage error in kinetic energy of a body having mass 60.0 plus or minus 0.3, moving with a velocity 25.0 plus or minus 0.1 centimeter per second. Let us write down data first. Mass of the body is 60 gram. Absolute error in the measurement of mass is plus or minus 3 gram. Velocity v is 25 centimeter per second, and absolute error in velocity is plus or minus 0.1 centimeter. Now what do we need to find is percentage error in the measurement of kinetic energy of a body. Let us first find out the value of kinetic energy of the body. Kinetic energy is given by the formula Ke equal to half mv square. That is equal to half into mass. Mass is given 60 multiplied by velocity. Velocity is 25 v square square. That is equal to 30 to the 60. So 30 into 625. That is equal to, so this is 18,750 erg. Now why erg? Because all units are given in CGS system. Mass is given in gram and velocity is given in centimeter per second. So this is 18,750 erg. This is kinetic energy. The value of kinetic energy equal to 18,750. Now let us find out the relative error in the measurement of kinetic energy. Now kinetic energy is given by the formula kinetic energy equal to half mv square. Now we can write this as half into mass into velocity into velocity. Now let us find out the relative error in the measurement of kinetic energy using the formula for function which are expressed in the form of product. So delta Ke upon Ke equal to, now we neglect constants in such term, therefore delta m divided by m and v 2 times v into v. So we have to write it as delta v upon v plus delta v upon v. Furthermore, we can write this as 2 into delta v upon v. So that is equal to plus or minus delta m. So plus or minus 0.3 upon 60 plus 2 into plus or minus 0.1 upon 25. That is equal to plus or minus 0.3 upon 60 is 0.005 plus 2 into plus or minus 0.1 upon 25, which is 0.004. So that is equal to plus or minus 0.005 plus multiply inside by 2. So plus or minus 0.008. Now adding these two we get, therefore relative error in the measurement of kinetic energy is equal to plus or minus 0.013. Now to find percentage error, we have to multiply relative error by 100. Therefore percentage error in kinetic energy is equal to delta Ke upon Ke, that is kinetic energy, multiplied by 100. So that is equal to 0.013 multiplied by 100. So that is equal to 1.3%. Final answer. This is percentage error in the measurement of kinetic energy. Example number 8. In Ohm's experiment, the values of unknown resistances were found to be 6.12 ohm, 6.09 ohm, 6.22 ohm and 6.15 ohm. Calculate the mean absolute error relative error and percentage error in these measurements. Let us write down the data first. The first reading R1 is equal to 6.12 ohm, R2 is 6.09 ohm, R3 is equal to 6.22 ohm, and the last reading R4 is equal to 6.15 ohm. Now first let us find the mean value of the resistance. Therefore R mean is equal to sum of all readings R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus R4 divided by 4, that is equal to 6.12 plus 6.09 plus 6.22 plus 6.15 divided by 4, that is equal to 24.58 divided by 4. Now that is equal to 4 6 are 24, then 4 1s are 4, 5 minus 4 1, 4 4s are 16, 2 remainder, so 4 5 are 20. So this is the mean value of the resistance. Therefore we get R mean is equal to 6.145 ohm. Let us find out the absolute errors. Absolute error in first reading delta R1 equal to R mean minus R1 modulus of, that is equal to 6.145 minus 6.12, that is equal to 0.025 ohm. Now let us calculate delta R2. Delta R2 equal to modulus of R mean minus R2, that is modulus of 6.145 minus 6.09, that is equal to 0.055 ohm. Delta R3 equal to modulus of R mean minus R3, that is equal to mod of 6.145 minus 6.22, that is equal to mod of minus 0.075. But since it's a modular sign, we have to consider only positive value. So 0.075 ohm. This is delta R3. Now let us find delta R4. Delta R4 equal to mod of R mean minus R4, that is equal to mod of 6.145 minus 6.15, that is equal to modulus of minus 0.005. Now once again, due to the modulus sign, we will have to remove the negative sign, and so we get delta R4 is equal to 0.005 ohm. Now let us find out the mean absolute error in the measurement of resistance. So delta R mean is equal to delta R1 plus delta R2 plus delta R3 plus delta R4 divided by 4, that is equal to 0.025 plus 0.055 plus 0.075 plus 0.005 divided by 4. The addition of numerator is 0.16 divided by 4, and therefore we get delta R mean is equal to 0.04 ohm. So this is mean absolute error in the measurement of resistance. Delta R mean equal to 0.04 ohm. In resistance equal to delta R mean upon R mean. So that is equal to, so delta R mean is 0.04 divided by R mean is, the value of R mean is 6.145, and so we get that is equal to 0.00651. So this is the relative error. Delta R mean divided by R mean 0.00651. Now let us find percentage error. Therefore, percentage error is equal to delta R mean divided by R mean multiplied by 100. That is equal to 0.00651 multiplied by 100. And so finally we get percentage error in the measurement of resistance is equal to 0.651%. An object is falling freely under the gravitational force. Its velocity after traveling a distance h is v. So after traveling a distance h, so h is a length fundamental quantity, velocity is v. If v depends upon the gravitational acceleration g, acceleration meter per second square, and distance, prove with dimensional analysis that v equal to k under root gh, where k is a constant term. Okay, let us first write down that height is h. Now this is length. So dimensions are L raised to 1, M raised to 0, T raised to 0. Now the gravitational acceleration g, unit meter per second square, meter L raised to 1, no mass, per second square. So 2 times time in the denominator, T raised to minus 2. Now we need to establish a relation between velocity and height and gravitational acceleration. So write the dimensions of velocity as well. Velocity v, meter per second. So dimensions are L raised to 1, M raised to 0, per second, T raised to minus 1. Okay. Now let us consider that velocity v is proportional to height raised to a and gravitational acceleration raised to b, where a and b both are constant terms. Now let us convert this proportionality into equality, and we get v is equal to k h raised to a g raised to b, where k is the constant of proportionality. So k is the constant simply. Now let us write dimensions on both the sides. On left hand side, L raised to 1, no mass, T raised to minus 1 meter per second. K is the dimensionless quantity being a constant. H, L raised to 1 raised to A. And acceleration due to gravity, meter per second square. L raised to 1, T raised to minus 2 raised to B. Now let us multiply by the powers inside. Therefore we get L raised to 1, T raised to minus 1 is equal to K into L raised to 1 raised to A. So 1 into A is A. Next bracket, L raised to 1 raised to B. 1 into B, B, and T raised to minus 2B. Okay. Now next term. Therefore, L raised to 1 into T raised to minus 1 is equal to K into, now have a look over here, L term, L raised to A multiplied by L raised to B. Base same and multiplication, so addition of indices, L raised to A plus B and T raised to minus 2B. Now since this is the equation, let us equate the dimensions on left hand side and dimensions on right hand side. Therefore L raised to 1 is equal to L raised to A plus B. Therefore we get A plus B is equal to 1. Let this be equation number 1. Now we are going to equate the dimensions for time. T raised to minus 1 is equal to T raised to minus 2B. 1 equal to 2B. So B equal to half. Substitute B equal to half in equation number 1. And so we get A equal to 1 minus B, 1 minus half. And so we get A also equal to half. Now the proportionality that we have considered is V is equal to K into, now V is equal to K into H raised to A and G raised to B. h raised to a g raised to b. So k into h raised to a g raised to b, that is equal to k into h raised to half g raised to half. Can write this as k into hg raised to half. Now raised to half is the square root, and therefore finally we can write it in the required form as v is equal to k under root gh. V is equal to at plus b upon t plus c plus v0 is a dimensionally valid equation. Dimensionally valid. Now what is the dimensionally valid equation? Dimensions on LHS is equal to dimensions on RHS. Obtain the dimensional formula for A, B and C, where V is the velocity, T is time and V0 is initial velocity. Now since the given equation is dimensionally valid, V equal to at plus b upon t plus c plus v0. Now remember one thing, we can add and subtract only those terms which have same dimensions. Now I'll explain. For example, can you add 20 meter per second to 20 meter per second? So 20 meter per second plus 20 meter per second. Yes, we can add this 40 meter per second. But can you add 20 meter per second to 1 ampere? Is this possible? Absolutely not possible. So we can add only those quantities which have same dimensional formula. So over here in this equation, dimensions on LHS is equal to dimensions on RHS. Now what are the dimensions on LHS? Its velocity v. So dimensions of velocity are meter per second is the unit, meter length raised to 1 per second t raised to minus 1. So every term on right hand side should have the dimensions L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1. Okay, so let us first start with at. So we get a into t should also have the dimensions L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1. Now a into t is time, so dimension t raised to 1, that is equal to L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1. Shift this t raised to 1 to right hand side, so that will go to the denominator of L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1. Now when you will shift this t raised to 1 from denominator to numerator, its index will change by sign, and so we get that is equal to L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1 minus 2, and so finally we will write this as dimensions of A are L raised to 1 m raised to 0 t raised to minus 2. So these are the dimensions of A. Now let us find the dimensions for B. Now b upon t plus c. This term also has dimension same as that of velocity. Now we know dimensions on LHS equal to dimensions on RHS. So velocity, so right hand side also velocity. This is v0 velocity. This is added to b upon t plus c. Just now I told you that you can add or subtract only those terms which have same dimensions. So b upon t plus c also has the dimensions of velocity. So b upon t plus c is equal to the dimensions of velocity L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1. Now have a look at the denominator. C is added to time t. We can add only time to the time, and therefore the dimensions of C are same as that of the dimensions of t, that is equal to t raised to 1, and therefore dimensions of C are L raised to 0, m raised to 0 and t raised to 1. So these are the dimensions of C. Now let us find the dimensions of B. Therefore b upon t plus c. Now t plus c is time, dimension t raised to 1, that is equal to the dimensions of velocity L raised to 1 t raised to minus 1. Shift this to right hand side, it will go to the numerator, so that is equal to L raised to 1 into t raised to minus 1 into t raised to 1. Now base same, multiplication, so addition of indices, and so finally we get the dimensions of B are L raised to 1, no m term, m raised to 0 and t raised to minus 1 plus 1 0. So these are the dimensions of B, C and A. Example 11. The length, breadth and thickness of a rectangular sheet of metal are 4.234 meter, 1.005 meter and 2.01 centimeter respectively. Give the area and volume of the sheet to correct significant figures. Okay, let us write down the data first. Now it is given that length of the sheet metal is equal to 4.234 meter. Next, breadth is given. Breadth B equal to 1.005 centimeter and thickness is given. Thickness T is equal to 2.01 centimeter. Okay. Now area is equal to length multiplied by breadth. That is equal to 4.234 multiplied by 1.005 meter. This is meter 1.005. That is equal to 4.25517. Now in length and breadth there are 4 significant figures. You can count them. So the number of significant figures are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the final answer also we'll keep 4 significant figures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us neglect 1 and 7. Now we can neglect 1 and 7. No need to round off 5 because 1 is less than 5. And so finally we get area is equal to 4.255 meter square. Let us find the volume now. Volume V is equal to area multiplied by thickness. That is equal to 4.255 multiplied by 2.01. Now this is not meter, centimeter, this is meter. By mistake I had written centimeter here. This is meter only, meter. So volume is equal to 4.255 into 2.01 meter cube. 8.55255 meter cube. This is the volume. Example number 12. If the length of the cylinder is L equal to 4.00 plus or minus 0.001 centimeter, radius R equal to 0.0250 plus or minus 0.001 centimeter, and mass M equal to 6.25 plus or minus 0.01 gram. Calculate the percentage error in the determination of density. So that is length 4 centimeter and absolute error in the measurement of length is 0.001 centimeter. Radius is 0.0250 centimeter. Error in radius 0.001 centimeter. Mass 6.25 gram and error in mass 0.01 gram. Let us now find out volume. Volume equal to area multiplied by length. Area of cross section of a cylinder is pi r square multiplied by length L. That is equal to 3.142 into r square. R is given 0.0250. 0.0250 square of this, so 0.0250 one more time multiplied by length. Length is 4 centimeter. Let us now find out relative error in the measurement of volume. Now as we know, volume is equal to pi into r square into L, can be written as pi into r into L. Now we can use the formula for product of two functions, and therefore we can write delta V upon V equal to pi the constant term, so eliminate pi, delta R upon R for first R, delta R upon R for second R in the R square, plus delta L divided by L. Now let us substitute the values, and therefore we can write this is equal to 2 into delta R. Now what is delta R? 0.001 divided by the value of r 0.0250. So is r 0.0250? Yes. Plus delta L. Now delta L is 0.001 divided by 4. That is equal to 2 into 0.04 plus 0.00025. So that we can write as 0.08 multiply inside by 2 plus 0.00025. That is equal to 0.08025. This is relative error in the measurement of volume. Let us now find relative error in the measurement of mass. Relative error in the measurement of mass is equal to delta m divided by m. That is equal to, now delta m upon m, 0.01 upon 6.25. 0.01 divided by 6.25. That is equal to 0.0016. Okay. Now for density, let us write D. The formula is mass upon volume, m upon v, and therefore by using a formula for division of two functions, we can write percentage error in density is equal to percentage error in mass plus percentage error in volume. That is equal to, now what is percentage error in mass? Relative error multiplied by 100. So delta m upon m into 100 plus delta v upon v multiplied by 100. That is equal to, now delta m upon m 0.0016 into 100 plus delta v upon v 0.08025 multiplied by 100. That is equal to 0.16 plus 8.025. That is equal to 8.185%. So let us write it finally. Therefore, percentage error in density is equal to 8.185%. Final answer. Example number 13. When the planet Jupiter is at a distance of 824.7 km from the Earth, its angular diameter is measured to be 35.72 seconds. Remember, these are seconds of arc. Calculate diameter of the Jupiter. Let us write down the data first. Now R is given over here. R is equal to 824.7 million kilometers. Now million stands for 10 raised to 6 kilometer. Next, angular diameter is measured to be 35.72 second. Now theta is also given. Theta is equal to 35.72 second. Now let us convert this 35.72 second to minute by dividing it with 60, and further convert that to degree by dividing it again by 60. Now we need to convert this degree into radian measure. So 35.72 divided by 3600 into pi by 180 in radian. So this is the angle in radian. And what we have to find is diameter is equal to how much. So the situation is something like this. So this is the planet. Its diameter is d. This is the angular separation theta, and this is r. So we can write the formula D is equal to R into theta. That is equal to, now R is given 824.7 into 10 raised to 6. 824.7 into 10 raised to 6 multiplied by 35.72 into pi divided by 3600 into 180. That can be written as, this is equal to, now let us write 824.7. So 8.247. Now when the decimal is shifted over here, multiplied by 10 raised to 2 into 10 raised to 6 into, let us write 35 also by as 3.572 into 10 raised to 1 into pi divided by, let us write denominator as 3.6 into 10 raised to 3 into 1.8 into 10 raised to 2. Now let us balance the power of 10. This 10 raised to 2 from numerator and denominator both gets cancelled. So we are left with now 8.247 into 3.572 multiplied by pi 3.14 divided by 3.6 into 1.8 and the power of 10 now. From denominator is 10 raised to 3. Shift it to numerator, it will become 10 raised to minus 3. This 10 raised to 6 minus 3 10 raised to 3 into 10 raised to 1. So total power is 10 raised to 4. So that is equal to 92.499 in the numerator divided by 6.48. So that is equal to 14.27 into 10 raised to 4 kilometer, and finally we can write this as, therefore diameter D is equal to 1.427 into 10 raised to 4 kilometer. Final answer. If the formula for a physical quantity is x equal to a raised to 4 into b raised to 3 divided by c raised to 1 upon 3 into d raised to half, and if the percentage error in the measurement of a, b, c and d are 2%, 3%, 3% and 4% respectively, calculate the percentage error in the measurement of x. Now it is given that x is equal to a raised to 4, b raised to 3 divided by c raised to 1 upon 3 and d raised to half. Now using the formula for percentage error of a function in the form of division and multiplication, we can write percentage error in x is equal to 4 into percentage error in a plus 3 into percentage error in b plus 1 upon 3 into percentage error in c plus 1 upon 2 into percentage error in d. Let us substitute the values now, and therefore we get percentage error in x is equal to 4 into percentage error in a 2%. So 4 into 2% plus 3 into percentage error in b, which is 3%, plus 1 upon 3 into percentage error in c, which is 3%, plus half into percentage error in the measurement of d, which is given, which is 4%. That is equal to 4%. Now let us go for the calculation. 4 2s are 8, 3 3s are 9. This 3 got cancelled, so we are left with 1, plus 2 2s are 4, plus 2. That is equal to 20%. So 20% is the final answer. Error in the measurement, percentage error in the measurement of x. Example 15. Write down the number of significant figures in the following: 0.003 meter square. Okay. Now in 0.003 meter square, the number of zeros to the right of the decimal number and to the left of first non-zero number, which is 3 over here, are not significant. So these two zero are not significant, and therefore number of significant figures in 0.003 meter square are equal to 1. Next is 0.1250 gram per centimeter square. 0.1250 gram per centimeter square. Now the 0 at the end is considered to be significant. So the number of significant figures over here equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4. Next, 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter. In 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter, 6 and 4, only two significant figures are there. So number of significant figures equal to 2. Next, 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Now we do not consider the power of 10 for significant figures. We go only for the number 1.6. So 1 and 6, there are two significant figures. The last one, 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram. 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram. Now, as we know, do not consider power of 10 for significant figure. So 9 and 1, there are two significant figures. So number of significant figures is equal to 2. Example number 16. The diameter of a sphere is 2.14 centimeter. Calculate the volume of the sphere to the correct number of significant figures. Now diameter is given. So diameter equal to 2.14 centimeter. Now let us write down its radius. Therefore, radius r is equal to 2.14 divided by 2, that is 1.07 centimeter. This is radius of the sphere. Now we need to find the volume. Volume of a sphere equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube, that is equal to 4 by 3 into 3.14 multiplied by r cube. Now radius is 1.07, so 1.07 cube, that is equal to 4 multiplied by 3 ones are 0, 3 fours are 12 and 3 sixes are 18 multiplied by 1.07 cube, 1.225, that is equal to, now multiply this by 4 into 1.046, so that is equal to, so the volume is 5.1254 centimeter cube. Now to get the correct number of significant figures, it's given that diameter is 2.14, so number of significant figures are 2, 1 and 4, that is 3 significant figures are there. Hence, in the final answer, we are going to write only 3 significant figures, that is equal to 5.1, round up this 5 and so that 2 will be increased by 1, 0.3 centimeter cube. So this is the volume of the sphere, 5.13 centimeter cube.